Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Force Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Alright, there's some interesting news that has been circulating the web.
The web?
The world wide
I don't think I've heard
web.
it called the web in 20 years.
Well, I got teased the other day for referring to a wallet as a pocketbook.
Hey,
So I'm going with it,
Dexter
old-timey
Jetster.
terms.
It was fine for him. How big your pocketbook is. See? That's probably where you got it from. Don't worry about
It's
it.
probably not where I got
Probably
it from.
not, no.
Alright, on topic here. Jeff Snyder, he's an insider. He just did a report, and this news comes via Screen Rant. He says that Lucasfilm is, quote, developing several new shows that simply haven't been announced yet, end quote.
Star Wars Celebration. They need fodder.
Exactly.
Fodder for the masses.
Celebration is in April. We are under a year from our next celebration. And it's going to be big because they should have stuff ready to show for Mandalorian and Grogu movie. They should be able to tell you what movie's coming after that. Cough, cough,
sure.
the Rey movie.
Sure, we'll see.
Cough. But, yeah, they should have a whole slew of shows to talk about, right?
Well, they
Both
should be
animated
doing
and
something.
live action.
Well, we know we don't know, but we know there was a job posting for animation, so. Plus,
Animation for
plus it only
Lucasfilm,
makes
yeah.
sense that there's a new animated show coming.
Well, we know that's not the end of Visage Ventress.
Yeah, I'm sticking
Yeah.
with the Ventress something show.
The Ventress something show,
That's
because they
the
have to
official
name it
name,
after the
yeah.
character, right? Oh, yeah. I'm happy in a way, I guess, that they didn't renew the Acolyte.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe they're
fine with that.
funneling the money into things better spent.
Well, maybe they're trying new things too. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Like, until we hear the announcements, who knows what they have in store? Is it just going to be more like Mandoverse
I'm
stuff?
worried,
Is it going to be
honestly, because what do we have next year? We have Andor Season 2 and nothing else.
nothing?
We
that's
know
been
that
announced,
Ahsoka Season 2 is coming. That got greenlit.
Yeah.
But we don't know what comes after that. And we don't expect Ahsoka to even drop next year. I'm guessing 2026 for Ahsoka Season 2.
Sure.
Not to mention, we did get confirmation that Skeleton Crew is a limited run show.
Yeah, most of their shows seem to be a limited run.
But this one they're announcing ahead of time. There's not like, and if it does well, no, they're like, it's a limited series.
Watch it do fantastic. Watch it be loved, and we're going to save the
They
Skeleton
could
Crew.
make something good. I mean, they can run on nostalgia bait, the wonder of children exploring the universe. They could run a fine show.
Like I said, I think that's the word for it. I think it's going to be fine. I think it'll be...
I mean, doesn't Disney
not gonna be loved or
specialize in
hated,
things
most
that are
likely.
supposed to be family content, things that are supposed to be kid content?
Maybe once upon a time,
Maybe. You're funny.
when you wish upon a star.
But I'm expecting now we're going to get a whole slew of announcements at Celebration. Why? Because we need to. We didn't get a celebration this year. Why? They didn't have anything. We need a big celebration next year. Big celebration.
We'll see. I'm sure there'll be a few things, a few shows. There has to be, right?
There have to be.
Because there's nothing else coming that we know of.
Like 18
other than the second
movies, though.
season 2. Wow.
They've all been rumored.
If 2 of the 18 make it, I'll be surprised.
Alright. Another thing I kind of wanted to talk about today. Promises that the Acolyte didn't keep.
Okay. Like being a well-written show, or... ha ha ha.
No, I'm talking about how this show was advertised to the masses. This show, number one, first thing they kept telling everyone is this was going to be a murder mystery, right?
Never a mystery, yeah.
They showed you in episode 1. We watched the murder.
The mystery was why she was
And then we
doing
found out it was, it's my twin sister. Okay.
That wasn't a...
I want revenge. Okay, we got told everything so quick. It wasn't a whodunit.
No, it never was.
It's not like...
I remember before it came out, there was that where someone slipped and said, like, it's a twin thing, and everyone's like, oh, they spoiled the big mystery. Like, nah, that was never...
That wasn't...
There was never a mystery in the show.
It wasn't a mystery.
The big mystery was supposed to be what happened with the witches, and in the 3rd episode, they basically showed you enough to
piece the things
piece
together.
it together, and then they give
know,
you episode
yeah.
7, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of what we expected.
That is exactly what we expected.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that she wanted to portray the Jedi as bad.
Yeah,
But
the whole
one
Rashomon thing,
did
which
get
she
right.
sold it on, was never really
Yeah,
played
she
into.
kept going into Rashomon, perspective, how the same event viewed by different people has different... No.
No, you just
They
filled in
didn't change
blanks
anything.
and kind of confirmed, yeah.
Right. There wasn't really a Rashomon. The only Rashomon effect that happened, I guess you could say, is Osha believing that May intentionally started the fire and
I guess, but
wanted
that was
to
like...
kill her, but May not really intentionally starting such a big fire.
I feel like the only Rashomon was her in the show coming to the realization she didn't know all the information, and that's not Rashomon.
That's not Rashomon.
No. Well, I mean, it is from her point of view, I guess. I don't know.
But that's not what we were going after here. Another thing that I felt we got kind of cheated out of is she said this was going to be told through the dark side perspective, through the Sith perspective, shall we say.
Yeah, we saw he poked his head up in a cave.
But that wasn't... quiet.
Well, that was his perspective. That was his Rashomon moment.
When was the perspective, though, told through the eyes of the dark side? The only darksiders in the show were Khmer / the Stranger.
Until the end with Osha.
Until the end.
Well, yeah. May was, too, the whole time. She was a darksider.
But she wasn't.
No, she was.
She wasn't really. She was trying to use to get revenge. But the moment she was like, wait, I can just tell the Jedi my sister's alive, she was like, I'm done with Darkseid.
Yeah, but then she wasn't done with it again.
And then she was.
She flip-flopped a lot. Yeah,
I'll
just stay behind.
That's not a Darksider.
No, that's not a Darksider.
That's a flip-flopper.
Yeah, actually, I mean, when you really think about it, she should have been consumed by the dark side at that point. And the whole,
But she never was.
Her love for her sister won out that she hadn't seen in 16 years.
True.
Yeah, and that she kind of had hated up until that point, too, or was mad at her. I don't know. She wasn't.
I was frustrated because we didn't see things through the dark side perspective.
No, I think that was the biggest.
Are they saying the witches' camp, seeing them live their daily lives, was the dark side perspective? Because we didn't honestly even get told, really, that they were dark side.
Well, no, but I mean, I think they were.
They wanted us to think
I don't think they
were, but...
Well, they didn't want you to really think they were. They wanted them to be kind of ambiguous, like, are they dark side, or is it just kind of mess around with that a little bit, but not really? It's like, well, they got like a, they're kind of chanting and doing normal witchy stuff that we would think of as being bad, right?
Okay,
in the real world.
But
not that they're real witches, but you know what I'm saying?
At the same time, they were never, really told that they were using the dark side of the Force. They were channeling their hate and their anger. They always seemed pretty calm and in control, the Jedi, when they were using their powers.
Well, she wanted them to be portrayed as victims. Like, just because they were like, oh, they don't follow the Force as the Jedi do, they're being,
I don't really
seen as bad guys.
You could ever portray the dark side users as victims successfully.
Well, that's kind of what she was doing. Like she was showing how these are just a group of people, a group of women who wanted to do their own thing. They were
with the dark side, okay.
With the dark side, yeah, but
just
they weren't hurting anybody.
Wanted to be left alone to kill whoever he wanted with the dark side, follow his dark side ambitions. How dare the Jedi interfere with my dark side ambitions?
Yeah, they didn't even know he existed. I don't know.
No.
Which is funny. He was all like, I got to destroy the Jedi because if they know I exist, but they don't know I exist. But
no,
actually,
Vanestra seemed to think he was dead.
Vanestra thought he was dead or gone or something.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very, like when you start pulling at the threads, pun intended, like things just unravel with the show. That's probably the biggest problem with it. It's not just a very well-written show. I'm sorry. I know people like it, and you can like it, but when you tug at those threads and you're like, well, why did this character believe this, or why was this like that?
Well, I think I just found out that I was even more disappointed when I realized the things that it said, that these were like the taglines of the show to get you in there.
Rising dark side power.
Rising dark side power, Sith perspective, dark side perspective, murder mystery, Rashomon, and we really didn't get any of those things fulfilled.
Either that or they thought they were fulfilling them and were just wrong.
But how do you not know which perspective you're writing from?
Well, they know what perspective. I mean, you know what character perspective, but I mean, like what you're actually accomplishing. Like, I mean, it's very difficult, I would say, to write something and then actually have the ability to step back and fully see it as independent from what you envision it as. Does that make sense? I know there are times I've written things and someone will, my story videos, and someone will like get a totally different interpretation. Not a totally different. I do say so myself. I'm usually conveying what I want.
Well, and
but there are times when they, someone will see something and be like, well, I see what you're doing there. And you're like, well, not really. That's not really what I'm going for.
Well, and seeing somebody's point of view is not seeing their perspective. Those are two different things.
Well,
it's like when they did Thanos for Infinity War.
We got his
perspective. We got everything from him. We got a fully fledged here as the evil character. We understood his motivations. We understood his drives, what he wanted, his perspective on what was happening in the world. I don't feel like we got fleshed out like that with the dark side characters.
It's interesting you put it like that, because I think I kind of agree and disagree, because I think Headland wanted you to see their perspective and believe she was so interested in you actually believing them that she failed to realize that you could just have here's the story of, like, Thanos is a good example. Like, you can understand Thanos. You can even, to a degree, be like, yeah, maybe he's got some points, but you don't want to ever take his side. And I don't think she knew how to write these characters in a way where you could see Osha and May or Kamir's perspective. You could even be like, okay, you got a bit of a point, but you're still the bad guys. She wasn't interested in that last part.
She wasn't interested in keeping them the bad guys. She actually wanted you to take their side, despite watching him brutally murder Jordan, Jecki, and other Jedi that they familiarized us with.
That, I think, is where she failed. She truly wanted you to root for them. Not just because, like, oh, it's kind of cool to root for the villains every now and then, but no, like, oh, these guys are...
She really wanted you to actually root for the villains.
Yeah, she really wanted you to take their side in terms of, like, where you would defend them, and some people, I suppose, do. And I think that's where the show goes wrong, because a lot of people... Sure, it's fun to root for Darth Vader because he's Darth Vader. It's fun to root for villains, but, like, deep down, you're like, I'm not really rooting for that guy because he's evil. No,
not truly.
But she was like, I want you to root for them even though they are evil. And I think a lot of people are like, I'm not going to do that. That goes against my ethical code that I have within myself. I'm sorry, once you murder somebody, once you murder someone in cold blood, you're like, I can't side with that. I can't get on board.
But she wanted you to anyway.
She wanted you to anyway. And she did say something to that effect where you're supposed to overlook that he's
your own
killer.
Morality?
Well, I guess so.
That's not how this works.
That's not how it should work. No, you shouldn't watch Star Wars and go, yeah, maybe my own moral code is too good, and I should loosen it up.
That seems very anti-Disney in general, honestly.
Well, it seems anti-humanity, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really weird. Really weird.
It is. Well, I think that is going to be all we got for this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think about any and all of today's news or our little ramble about the Acolyte. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.